Hello everyone. I have just gotten in from the library. As you can see, I'm still in my outdoor clothes, but I thought I'd show you the books I have gotten out from the library this year, because we are indeed still supporting libraries in our big age, as we should. So the number of times I've had to tell grown people that you can go to the library and take out books for free. It's a public space. You can just go in and just like hang out, chill there, get a book, don't get a book. It's fine. Yes, it is a free membership. Yes, you really can take out books for free. Number of times I've done that. If I had £1 for each time I did it, I'd have £2, which is not a lot, but more than I should have. Anyway, yes, please support your local libraries. They are underfunded, they are struggling, and what really helps is just more people going to them and showing that there is demand and there is a service for it. Take your kids, take yourself, and have fun. Here are the books I have gotten this year so far, over like 2 or 3 trips I'd say. We have Ball Lightning by Cixin Liu. I think that's how you pronounce it in Mandarin. So this was originally written in Mandarin Chinese and it has been translated because my Mandarin is not that great, unfortunately. Apologies to my parents for putting me through Chinese school for literally years. That's for guilt aside. Mr. Liu is known as an incredible sci-fi writer. The New York Times has called him a milestone in Chinese science fiction. I would like to correct the New York Times and say it's a milestone in science fiction generally. He is most known for writing The Free Body Problem, which is like an amazing sci-fi series which essentially, how do I summarize it? It's a lot. It's a lot. There is a TV series coming soon on Netflix UK. There's been a few Chinese adaptations of it already. But essentially the main character is like sick. She's sick of this world. And she just kind of sends a signal to space to the aliens being like, just invade us, please. And they do come. And you know what? That's a mood. That is an absolute mood. For Ball Lightning, it is about Chen, whose parents, on his 14th birthday, the parents were incinerated by a blast of ball lightning, and now he's just struggling to get his head around his just like weird ass tragedy, and just trying to learn more about lightning basically. Yeah, he's traveling the world, he's unlocking new things in particle physics, and he's deeply lonely and just struggling for knowledge, for understanding. Really looking forward to this. I've been trying to get more into more sci-fi, so yeah. So I've already read this. Do I even bother talking about it? Okay, so it's Backlash by Marnie Riches. I think it's a series, but you can read it as a standalone. It's a crime, so a PI is tasked with going undercover in a place, and she's like discovering stuff in this like neighborhood, and it seems really idyllic. And it's not idyllic at the same time, and then you discover things and there's a whole thing about it. I don't like crime. I don't like crime novels. I haven't found a crime novel yet where I was like, oh, that was a good read. I think the thing with crime novels is that if I just read the last chapter or even the last half of the chapter, that'll do. Like, it can't just be like a, oh, who did it? Oh, who did it? Oh, who did it? Throughout the whole book, because again, I could just skip ahead and read it. I've got to be taken on a journey. So the journey has to be worthwhile, not just the last bit, the conclusion, you know? And I've not found a crime novel that does that for me. That just takes me on a journey where the journey was worth it. Like, where's this? It's not fun. It's not like dark or gritty. It's just annoying. You know, like I think this book really tried to be like gritty. I hate how the author bio, basically, it's not here, but she always, in her bio, in the first line, she's like, grew up in a rough neighborhood. Grew up in a rough neighborhood. And I've never seen that in a bio in someone else's writing, where they have to put the fact that they grew up in a rough background to kind of like give their crime books like authenticity and grit and reality. Like, why are you using systemic failures that lets down and it causes just horrific lives for millions of people to give your book's credit. It's not funny. It's supposed to be like funny as well. It's not funny. It hasn't warmed me to the crime genre, basically. Let's try not to bash it too much. Yeah, also it's just like weirdly racist and fatphobic at times, just for no reason. Maybe because it's so gritty and so dark. Ooh. Moving on, I thought I'd try more Agatha Christie. I have read Murder on the Orient Express, and this is now Towards Zero. I don't know which detective, if it's Poirot, if it's... Does she write Miss Marple? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not an Agatha Christie stan, but maybe after reading this one I will be. I don't know if this counts... I don't know what the difference between crime and a murder mystery is. I thought it's the same, because like murder is a crime. Anyway, this is Towards Zero. It is about tennis, I guess, judging from the cover. You're not here for insightful commentaries, okay? Moving on. The blurb reads, what is the connection between a failed suicide attempt, a wrongful accusation of theft against a schoolgirl, and the romantic life of a famous tennis player? It is about tennis. Yeah, I just haven't read enough Agatha Christie, so this is not the biggest book in the world, so I look forward to seeing what she's about. I have read this book before. I loved this book, so I'm very happy to read it again. This is Eat Up by Ruby Tandeau. You may know Ruby from the Great British Bake Off. She is also just a phenomenal food writer in general. She writes lots for Vitals, which is a food newsletter I subscribe to, and it's so good. Like, she writes about food in such a non-snobby way. Like, it's not about like grandeur and big restaurants and oysters and class. It's a kind of about, her writing's all about like what feeds us and about food you find in the everyday. Like, she's written an article about the supermarket corn you can get. Like in some small shopping centres you can just buy like a cup of corn, and she wrote about her experience and her thoughts and stuff about writing that, and I just kind of loved that something so humble is absolutely worth writing about. And this book is just about like the joy of food, the joy of eating, the joy of sharing a meal, just putting the pleasure and the joy back into what you eat. I love it. I pulled this completely at random from the bookshelf. I do advise going to libraries and do choose a book by its cover because there's so many. So this is Carol Matthews' Million Love Songs. I believe we should all read more quote-unquote women's fiction. I don't know why it's called women's fiction, it's just fiction. Yes, it's one of those like sappy rom-com kind of things where it's not too deep. And we love that. We love that. We have sitcoms for TV. Why aren't we allowed that for books, you know? We're allowed to have light reads. It's not always that deep. I don't always have to read about people's parents being incinerated by lightning. I could read about how Ruby Brown has split up from her cheating husband. She's ready for a new change. Of course she meets two men that are like, oh my god, that's so great. Who do I choose? And I love that. I love that for her. Screaming child, please chill out, shut up. You know, I'm making a YouTube video. I have not read any Sadie Smith. I know, I live in the UK and I'm a writer who is a person of colour. How could I not read Sadie Smith like this? So I'm going to correct this issue. This is Sadie Smith, NW. It has done extremely well for a very long time. Oh my god, it came out in... Well, she won granted Best Young British Novelist in 2013. We are now in 2023. God darn it! The passing of time does not stop. It goes so fast. It's already been 10 years. Oh, I joined university in 2013. It's been 10 years since I went to university. Anyway, so this is a tragicomedy. Apparently, it follows four Londoners as they've all left their childhood council estate and they move on to different lives. I imagine it's kind of like a homage to London and to living in London. And I have very mixed and complex views, I think like everyone, with living in such a major city like London, where it's so beautiful, but awful, but fun, but terrifying. all at the same time. How necessary and how you hate how necessary it is to live in that city, or at least be connected to it. So yeah, looking forward to finally reading some Zadie Smith. This one I have read before. I just got out for a TikTok basically. This is The Bride Test by Helen Huang. I haven't read Helen Huang before I read this book. So I wasn't braced. I wasn't ready. I thought this would be like, oh, cute, sweet rom-com. It was a lot spicier. A lot spicier than expected. It just kind of, it's way hornier than I thought it would be. It just went vroom on the horny scale. But hey, we love to see it, especially because the two leads are both Vietnamese, the guy and a girl. Kai is autistic, and he thinks he doesn't feel feelings. And Esme is a girl who is mixed race, who is living in Ho Chi Minh City in the slums, and she gets an opportunity to go to America, meet her potential husband, who is Kai, and see if they can make it work. And what I really loved was, it was really fun to read, by the way. It was really enjoyable. It did take you on an emotional journey. You kind of know how it's going to end anyway. But you have a good time during, and that's what I want, okay? So why is it that rom-com books can do that, but crime books can't do that, yeah? Why can't rom-com books take me on a fun journey where I know how it's going to end, but it's a fun journey nonetheless, and I don't feel the need to skip to the last chapter? But crime novels, it's not a fun journey, and I just want to skip to the end. Riddle me that. What I really loved is that Asian people, especially men, are never seen as kind of attractive, really. It's only been in like the last few years with like the Hallyu wave, so the Korean pop culture wave, that like people are realizing like, oh dang, East and Southeast Asian people, they can be kind of hot, like who'd have thunk it? And especially like autistic men, like they are never seen as attractive. They're just seen as these kind of like sexless, unattractive nerds, skinny nerds. If you think of the representation we have, they're never seen as desirable, or if they are desirable, it's like comedic that they're desirable. Like there's something weird and wrong about the girl for liking an autistic man. But no. Here we have a hot autistic Vietnamese man who is very popular, and everyone's like, oh dang, you should absolutely marry him because he is a catch. Sorry about the not feeling things though. I will actually be rereading this again as well as using it for a TikTok, because it was fun. Also because I wasn't braced for how horny it was. I started reading it in public and then it hit a point I was like, so I will just simply read it in the privacy of my own room, so I'm not on a train like, please don't read over my shoulder. Please do not. This is not a group activity. Last book on my pile is The House at the Edge of the World by Julia Rochester. This is totally a book I chose purely for the cover and for the title. I just really love like this kind of hardback. ASMR time. I hope that tickled your eardrums. So basically, this guy, John Venton, got drunk, fell off a cliff in Devon, and just embarrassed his family by dying like that. His kids have they're grown, they're gone. The wife didn't like him anyway, so she's like, great, time to have a good widowhood. And the grandfather is the only one who finds solace in the crumbling family house, endlessly painting the story on a large canvas map, a map that holds a devastating secret. I am at the moment really interested in any stories that cover kind of a family house, the family being terrible. So I want to at the moment look at more stories that kind of focus on that weird, I don't want to say social phenomenon, but that weird thing, I can't think of a word but thing, but that thing of like, we have a house, we spend so much of our time in this house, and we're spending it with other people that we are related to by blood, that we may or may not like, and we will like and dislike them to varying degrees for years and decades, if not entire lifetimes. And we're caught in, like, we have to escape it. No, we want to stay here. You need to go. No, you don't want to go. I don't want to let you go. And like, we're all kind of tied to each other, and we're kind of pulling at each other, pushing at each other, all in this kind of space. And even when we do leave it, it stays with us, you know? Like, I have a poem, not to plug, but to plug, a poem called The Old House, which is on my YouTube channel. I shot like a short film with the wonderful Ray Roberts. And it's about how I haven't been in that house for, yeah, like 10 years or so, but I still think about that house. A lot of my dreams are still set in that house. Sometimes I wake up and I don't know where I am because of that house. That is all the books on my pile that I've got from the library. Now to work my way through it and then just go to the library again. It is a great cycle that never ends. Make sure you support your local library. Enjoy, have a good time. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you at some point in the future. Bye! In case you are wondering, is that a postcard of Minugi Sugar from BTS? You are correct. Yes, it is. He watches over me whilst I work at my desk. He's like my weird guardian angel who's just vibing as I answer emails and try and write poems.